Welcome back to the BoshNRoll channel. Today I'm playing Modern at the request of Patreon subscriber Emmanuel, and this is Dark Maverick. Maverick is traditionally a legacy archetype, and it's traditionally green-white, but the core of the reason for a deck like this to exist is Green Sun Zenith as a toolbox package in a kind of grindy mid-range deck. Green Sun Zenith unbanned in Modern a while back. We got a couple of new cool toys with it. Avatar brought us Badgermole Cub, a card that, if you've played basically any format you're aware of, this thing is nice. When it enters Earthbend 1, which means put a +1 counter on a land, and if it's not a creature, it becomes a creature. And whenever you tap a creature for mana, add an additional green. That land you bent is a creature, that's the joke, but then you can also include other creatures in your deck that tap for mana. Another cool card we have access to now is Formidable Speaker. Another one that if you've played basically any format you're aware of, since coming out in Lorwyn Eclipsed. I love when standard legal cards make it their way to non-rotating formats, and we got a number of them here. Formidable Speaker, when it enters, discard a card. If you do, search your library for a creature, reveal it, put it in your hand and shuffle, and then it has 1 tap, untap another target permanent. This one, just kind of a value object. It's not a core interaction of this deck, but it does give you the option. Even though all the creatures in the deck are green anyway that we could get with Green Sun Zenith, sometimes you just draw a Speaker and it functions as a 5th Zenith, but other times you can kind of double dip a Zenith where if the game has gotten kind of slogged down and you just have an extra land in your hand you don't need, or Fatal Push that's not really doing anything, you can Zenith for Formidable Speaker, discard the card that's not doing anything, and then search for what you would have Zenith for if Speaker wasn't in your deck. Then you kind of get the 2/4, you clear a card, you get what you wanted also. Just a little extra value there. End games this deck is working towards. There are 4 copies of Springheart and Go, which is pretty wild with Badgermole Cub, because if you bestow onto the land that is Earthbent, then when you make a land drop, if you pay 1 and a green, it makes a copy of a land, which creates a landfall trigger, which triggers Springheart and Go again. This is not infinite because your lands don't tap for 2, they tap for 1, but this does subsidize the ability to just spam out a ton of forests, or if it's on a value land, a ton of Lair of the Hydras, a ton of Ghost Quarters, a ton of Underground Mortuaries, you get it. And that can bridge you into massive Zeniths for something like Craterhoof Behemoth to win the game. It's mostly fair, but it's kind of fudging the lines of fair when you have Badgermole Cub and Agatha Soul Cauldron and the ability to race to the moon with Craterhoof Behemoth. But I always like decks like this. I like getting to play with new cards. A lot of things I like about this. Let's do it. This is Emmanuel's Dark Maverick. Buffalo Chicken Dip Legacy is back with 2 events already on the calendar in 2026. The first is Saturday, February 14th in Columbus, Ohio. The second is Sunday, February 22nd in Houston, Texas. Both events have a 64-player cap with guaranteed dual land prizes that scale with attendance. These events are posted for registration on spicerack.gg. Follow Buffalo Chicken Dip Legacy on SpiceRack or click the links in my video description to sign up for these events. Keep an eye on Buffalo Chicken Dip on SpiceRack. The second half of this year, they're looking to expand their tournament offerings outside of the normal Columbus and Houston locations in the Buffalo Chicken Dip Legacy Tour. That's coming later this year, but these events are live now. Go to the links in the video description and sign up. I'm on the draw in round 1, and I have to mulligan the Snowlander. There we go. This one is interesting because with Halfling and Cub, I could probably get to Craterhoof in reasonable speed, especially if I'm able to Zenith for a Dryad Arbor, because Dryad Arbor, the Earthbent land, and Blighted Halfling will all tap for 2. I think I'm actually going to bottom Boseiju here and keep the hoof in my hand, even though it does seem like kind of a air quotes obvious thing to put to the bottom. I also would have entertained putting Overgrown Tomb to the bottom, just in case we're in a matchup where Boseiju is useful. That is kind of a unique item at doing what it does. Opponent's on a mull to 5. Hope I can punish that. D-Halves coming in. Mull to 5 Wooded Foothills. I hope this isn't Ruby Storm. And Dotha Triumph. Probably some domain deck, maybe Zoo. There might be a control take on this. Yeah, this is 5 colors. All right, Zoo confirmed. Ooh, White of the Reliquary. That guy's not bad. Okay, I can play Badgermole Cub and then still Zenith for 1 here. Or I could play Badgermole Cub and White of the Reliquary and keep Zenith in my hand. That sounds really good. Earthbending doesn't untap the land, so I do have to take a hit here. Play Cub. Cub can bend the Tomb. Tomb taps are black, but also green. Here's White of the Reliquary. And we're off. The race is on. Can I hoof them out before they can lightning bolt all my creatures away? I bolted the white. And Territorial Kavu attacking my graveyard. It's a reasonable thing to do against this type of strategy. And Leyline Binding. Here is the wall of removal I was worried about. Here I can Zenith for up to 3. Grist actually seems great here. That kills Territorial Kavu, which is kind of the only thing they got going on. I can sacrifice my Overgrown Tomb to do it, which will just come back because it's been bent. Just going to take a look at my deck while I'm in here, in case there's anything better than Grist. Yeah, it looks like a clean Grist to me. I could have gotten Canker Bloom and destroyed Leyline Binding. I don't think that's better than killing their threat. They sacrifice Overgrown Tomb, which will come back into play. And Earthbent lands come back into play tapped. Don't be fooled by Magic Online prompting you to, if you want to pay 2 to have this untapped. That will not overwrite it. A Draco, which is somehow a worse threat than the thing that they already had in play. Right, I'll rip off this Rumble. Badgermole Cub, Scavenging Ooze, Agatha, Soul Cauldron. Soul Cauldron could give me many Grists if they bother to mess with Grists, which they might not. Cub gets me Mayan Crater Hoof next turn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm a little short. I think Cub is my best bet, though. Oh, right, I have the spawn as well. So I actually can Hoof next turn. Play the Cub. And Cub targeting Verdant Catacombs is the same as Cub tapping the creature, because I get 2 fetches out of it. Okay, I will use this to fetch a Surveil, and then probably a basic on the following turn. An opponent has to make the decision of eliminating Grist or trying to get me dead. And with 1 card left in hand, I suspect they have to respect Grist, but they did just keep a card on top of the library. We'll see. Flage, okay. So this can take out Grist and let Scion go upstairs. Okay, still more worried about Cub. I guess just getting control, just playing the control role here makes sense as well. This takes out Cub, and then Scion can attack Grist. Okay, they're checking all the boxes. End step, I'll fetch for a Surveil land. Underground Mortuary. Fatal Push, not helping. I think I want to fetch again for my other Surveil in the upkeep. This draw step feels like an important one. Badgermole Cub. Okay, they would need to top deck a red source because they missed a land drop. It's turn 5, and they only have 3 lands in play. I'll keep the Cub. If they come up with Flage, then bummer, but whatever. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Not quite there. Yeah, Mole specifically says when a creature is tapped for mana, not when a creature is used for mana. Though I'll still only get 1 out of the spawn, even though it is a mana creature. Second Draco. Alright, good news. Alrighty, drawing a land. What are my options? I can fetch Dried Arbor, which will have Summoning Sickness, but it will be in play to count for Crater Hoof. Or I could get a Forest and have 1 more attacker. So it's 1 more creature versus 1 more attacker. I think 1 more attacker is going to be more important. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, or this one won't be there. Or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That'll be gone. So it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 creatures in play. The 5 creatures in play represents 20 damage because 1 of them will be tapped, plus the base power and toughness of all these. Okay. Forest. Okay, they need a removal spell to survive. Hoof, trigger. Here they come. And even if they have a removal spell, they have to block to survive. 6, 12, 13, 14. Oh, they were actually dead even with a removal spell. That's sick. Crater Hoof math, baby. Okay, we're playing against Zoo. This is a 5-color creature deck featuring multiple important enchantments and the ability to play a control game with excellent removal, grindy with Flage. The graveyard matters a little. They have some small creatures, but it quickly goes into Flage and Draco world, where Culling Ritual doesn't help. I think I like Murderous Cut. Fulminator Mage is a strong maybe. If they have the Leyline, it doesn't matter. Leyline of many colors, not Leyline Binding. There's 2 Leylines in the deck. A Cankerbloom's already in here for enchantment removal. Endurance can matter versus Flage. I also have Bajuka Bog that's tutorable with White of the Reliquary. There's also Scavenging Ooze. I don't think I need 2 pieces of Graveyard Hate, 2 Graveyard Hate creatures. Endurance blocks moderately well, but it is smaller than a 2-mana 5/5. Ooze could be a 2-mana 5/5 eventually, while specifically controlling Flage for less mana. Yeah, I think Endurance out cut in is all I really have room for. The fun of Soul Cauldron also helps control Flage while giving my creatures the ability to tap for mana or do Scavenging Ooze stuff. Ice Till Explorer plus Ghost Quarter gives me a Fulminator style mid-game, end-game. Okay, yeah, I think that's it. Just a light change. I'm mostly already where I want to be. I'll keep this hand. Kind of explosive. Does the Springheart Nantuko trick. I'm going to go Crumbling Vestige into Delighted Halfling. Vestige is a cool one to Earthbend, because then if it dies, you get mana right away, which isn't true of any other lands. Opponent's got a Surveil land, and they like what they see. Lightning Bolt my Halfling. Slows me down a little bit, but that's not the important creature. Knight of the Rel. Alright, punished with my Crumbling Vestige a little bit. That's fine, I'll still just cub out here. If I can get a Springheart Nantuko onto a Badgermole Cub and a land, that is Splinter Twin. A Binding, still playing control over there, which is the posture they're in. Okay. I think it's important to get White of the Reliquary into play here, even though it hurts. Okay, Overgrown Tomb, take the beats. White of the Rel, who is a 3/3. The Territorial Kavu can attack and make it 2/2 again, but that's not the really important thing that's going on. I'm not going to block with it this turn anyway. Shocked in mana number 4. That's pretty scary. Flage, and they still need 1 more mana available to do more. Left up red for that. Ooh, Consign to Memory scammed out the Flage. That's pretty tight. Kavu is attacking my graveyard. That's tough. This Murderous Cut. I need to draw an actual land that taps for mana right now to get that anywhere. Badgermole Cub. Oh my goodness. What does this even do? It does let Vestige tap for an extra, but I think I'm just stuck under Flage at this point. It doesn't matter. And with the Kavu controlling my access to Delve cards, I guess all I can do here is play the cards that I have. Earthbend this Overgrown Tomb, and then Springheart Nantuko. Is this better bestowed onto something or just in play as a creature? It's probably better bestowed onto something. I mean, the Cub's just going to die. I'll put it on Crumbling Vestige. That might encourage them to do something weird. Though I mostly look pretty dead here. They're attacking me for 11, and if the 2 cards in their hand just deal 2 damage somehow, they're good. They could also just go face with Flage and force a block, but that loses 3 damage. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense to go face and hope I forget to block here, because I'm not going to forget to block, and then I'm at 3 more life than I could be. Ooh, hold on. Okay, so they went for that, which gives me a trigger in combat to block with, and unfortunately, I'm still not even close to Murderous Cut, but leaving me with Badgermole Cub saved me a bunch of damage. Another Flage. Man, I love this card. I love playing with and against Flage. I don't play a lot of Modern, but every time I do, I'm like, damn, Flage is messed up. Why don't we have Uro legal if we can Flage? Also, if they had Flage in hand, they just missed lethal, because I was talking about how if they have 2 damage in their hand, they win on this attack, and then they killed my land instead of doing that. That's fine. Okay. Can I Splinter Twin out this turn? It's pretty close. Okay. Bestow. I think I want to float a colorless bestow onto Cub, and then play Ghost Quarter. And what do I have to do here? I need a copy of Badgermole Cub, and I need to tap for mana. I don't think I can quite do it all. Okay, I've got another Badgermole Cub, and this one will target Ghost Quarter. Ghost Quarter can Ghost Quarter myself, get Swamp, Ghost Quarter comes back. That's another trigger. Yeah, I have to both win somehow. I have to stabilize and win somehow here. Yeah, I think I'm just one land drop short of Splinter Twinning out here. Oh, this taps for 3 because I have 2 Cubs. That's how that works. But it mostly doesn't matter because I need to activate it. Okay, I think I'm going to pass the turn and see what happens. I think mostly what happens is I just die, but here we go. Okay, they're choosing to loot here. That sets up the second Flage. Flage is blowing up this Cub, which is fine. You're discarding and drawing. That gives you Flage material. Okay, I think I'm going to block with Nantuko and block with Ghost Quarter. And then, am I Ghost Quartering you or me? Probably you. Yeah, you. I'll take out... I think they play a Plains and a Mountain, so it probably doesn't matter. But I'll go after Thundering Falls here. And this gives me a landfall trigger, which just makes a 1/1. Oh, they tutored a Plains instead of a Mountain. Darkkeeper Thrall. Creatures and artifacts entering the battlefield don't cause abilities to trigger. Okay. Creatures and artifacts are not lands, notably. Those are different card types. Okay. We're back to this kind of spot again. I'm going to rumble. Soul Cauldron. Do you do anything? You exile the Flage from my opponent's graveyard. And I can kill the one that's in play. The second Cub, I'm still just short on Ghost Quarter being a mana source or a land drop. Alright, Cub doesn't do anything anyway because of Doorkeeper Thrall. Alright, I guess it's Agatha's Soul Cauldron. And then tap for black, get a green. Use green colorless to play Soul Cauldron. Murderous Cut the Flage that's in play. And if they play one out of the graveyard, it won't trigger because of Thrall, which means I don't want to attack. Because if I do, Thrall dies, and I actually want Thrall to be alive. Alright, I'll exile Flage right now. I'll make my Insect a 2/2. Okay. For the first turn of the entire game, I'm not on imminent risk of death. They did come up with a red source. They can jam Flage out, and I need to spend another turn trying to answer it. I feel like I'm so close to doing something, and yet I'm not doing anything. They're looting with Kavu. Dumped a ley line. Sucks to throw away a creature I just invested a counter into. I probably should have thought of that, but I've been 1 mana short of doing anything cool the last few turns, and I feel like the Spawn is worth more than the bug. Okay, so now Doorkeeper Thrall is actually jacking my shit up here because I can't make a trillion Cubs. I can make a lot of overgrown tombs, but those don't help me. Okay, bestow onto Badgermole Cub. This landfall is just going to make a bug. Yeah, I guess I'm just passing here. Not a lot to do. It's a lot of mana being tapped. Wrath of the Skies. Well, okay then. I'm dead. Okay, their creatures are really big. What's the problem there? The problem with Fulminator Mage is I'm not a huge believer in it actually working. I think I can shave Formidable Speaker. Soul Cauldron was pretty mid, though if I'm bringing in Fulminator Mages, that's a combo. I still believe in Ooze and Canker Bloom. Removal, of course. Maybe I'm just not hoofing. Not hoofing gives up my to the moon cheese factor, but I think as I bring in Fulminator Mage, I am acknowledging that Crater Hoof Behemoth's not my plan anymore. Good news, my monthly MTG rewards just arrived. That's what that screen was. Feels kind of diabolical to cut a rumble, but that's kind of where I am. Okay, here we go. I'm trying the Fulminator thing. Okay, this I will keep. It's a little awkward because it has Dried Arbor in it alongside multiple other mana dorks, but I accept that as cost of doing business with a deck like this one. Lush Portico. It did draw Fulminator Mage, but punished by the colorless and functionally ETB tapped nature of the mana I'm working with right now. I'm going to rumble looking for a black source and try to get something going next turn. You can call me crazy, but I think this Verdant Catacombs is actually more valuable than this Badgermole Cub right now. Overgrown Tomb, get in. Delighted Halfling. Okay, Wrath of the Skies cannot kill my Halflings this turn, and then I'll be able to fulminate them next. So Wrath of the Skies is not my problem. If they play a big Kavu right now, that's something I'm going to have to tread water against, but I can change the size of Kavu. Okay, a Cub. Does that change what I want to do? No, because I still can't get double black in the way that I want. But yeah, I'm just going to cast Fulminator Mage and then play Dryad Arbor and attack for 1. I'd rather take out a red source. Like if they end step get Thundering Falls, I'll just zap it. And if they don't, I'll zap Portico in their upkeep. Okay, we are fetching in the end step. Thundering Falls confirmed. I'll take out the Falls. I hope that's right. I know they have Wrath of the Sky, which is white, but Flage, Kavu, so many of their Lightning Bolt, Ragavan. There's so many things they have that are red. Right, basic Mountain Fount. That means that their domain is only 3 right now, instead of 4 or 5, and they only have 2 men instead of 3. Kavu has arrived, but I got that one covered. White. All right. Still none of the things in my hand are legendary. Who can I Zenith for here? Ice Explorer, Scavenging Ooze. There's always Grist, but I have Fatal Push, so I'm not in that market. Still just choked on black mana. I think it is beneficial to me to wake up the Overgrown Tomb. And now Zenith could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I could Zenith for 6 here, or I could Zenith for 5 plus Fatal Push my opponent. I'm going to Fatal Push. And I think I want Ice Explorer. Zenith for 4. 6 is here too. And I might have overpaid. Non-land permanent cards in your graveyard have Retrace. Okay, yes, 6 represents Fulminator Mage. Alright, I overpaid on that for a little, but I couldn't actually tap my lands to get to that sequence of mana anyway. Oh, accidentally not punished. Okay, a white source arrived. X equals 1 on Wrath of the Skies is, I would say, mildly disruptive. Leyline Binding on the 6. Draw another Zenith? Alright, no. Not another Zenith. I'll play White of the Rel. This one is a little bit scary because on this turn, Wrath of the Skies for 1 is pretty devastating. For 2 is even worse. I'm not going to play out the Halfling for that reason. 6 was meant to save me. Okay, basic lands. 4 mana, no, why? Alright, well, I'm cooked. My board is going to be 2 Overgrown Tombs. Okay. Yeah, the Domain Zoo deck in the format also being an incredibly functional control deck after board is definitely an aspect of this deck that needs to be respected. There's Fulminator Mage, a turn late. They're tapping 4 mana again. What other 4-drops are even in this deck? Is that how much Scion costs right now? Because you don't have an island? I guess that is how that works. Oh, okay. Well, now Fulminator Mage doesn't matter, which is even better. Alright, I'm not winning this game. GG's. Made an effort, tried around with some strats, and that's something about deck familiarity that is really important. Seeing the 5-color mana base and wanting to play with your Fulminator Mages versus seeing the creature deck and wanting to play with your Craterhoof Behemoth, knowing which one is actually the right one to pursue comes with matchup experience and testing. And you might need to get your friend to sleeve up Domain Zoo and play 20 sideboarded games against them, 10 of each configuration, to see what actually feels better. And Wrath of the Skies messed up out of a creature control deck, though. On to the next round.
This video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, the easiest way to build Magic decks online. Moxfield supports over 30 formats, including Legacy and everything else you'll see on this channel. There's multiple customizations so you can interact with your deck how you want. Views such as text, grid, or stacks, and groupings like type, subtype, color, color identity, even artist. The site offers light mode, dark mode, and so much more. However you want to see your deck, Moxfield can provide it for you. Follow my Moxfield to keep up with the channel and what I'm playing in paper. I'll see you there.
I'm on the draw in round 2. A nice little hand. Got a halfling into a turn 2 grist. Elegant Parlor. Could be Boros, could be Ruby Storm, could be Domain Zoo again. Halfling, get in there. Sneak my Lair of the Hydra down while it doesn't punish me. Are we about to experience the extreme duality of Magic the Gathering, where my opponent plays a turn 2 Ruby Medallion and I'm excited about my turn 2 Grist? Okay. We are in that world, which means I have to Rumble instead of anything else I was going to do. Looking for what? I guess Boseiju here, or I guess Endurance would give me some ability to maybe stop some of their lines. White of the Reliquary is what I got, which I'm unable to cast with the mana I have. It is still somehow the best thing. And I'm going to bestow Nantuko and then pretend I'll get another turn. Because sometimes decks, you just have to accept that you're going to eat poo in game 1 and then go to your sideboard. And that is not a flaw in a deck. It's just necessary recognition that not every deck can beat every deck, because if every deck could beat every deck, that deck would be broken. Like if the deck that beats every deck exists, that deck gets banned. Okay, Pass in Flames. There's a Wish in Exile. All right, we don't need to watch. We don't need to watch. I'm not a pervert. You can do that in the privacy of your own home. Okay, Damping Sphere, Thoughtseize. Soul Cauldron is kind of weird because it's not a creature deck, but they do use their graveyard. I don't know that I want 3 of them in my deck, but some might matter. Fatal Push does hit Ral. That's not a blank. Scavenging Ooze is the Soul Cauldron that I want Soul Cauldron to be. Grist is really bad. Ice-Till Explorer. Can't imagine that one doing a lot. Okay, Explorer. And Hoof does give me options to combo them out. White of the Reliquary is pretty important. I think at least one push can come out. Speaker, Hoof, probably a Nantuko. And then I just try to... It's more my job to stop them, because I'll have power and toughness on the battlefield. That's not a concern. I'm not worried about having a win condition. I'm worried about being freaking dead before it matters. Gonna have to mulligan this perfectly nice looking hand because of the matchup we're in. I'll keep this one and put Dryad Arbor on the bottom. This one at least lets me Rumble on turn 2. Like this could be, if they have Ral, I can pick it off and then Rumble. If they just play a land, I can Rumble looking for Damping Sphere or one of my useful cards. Oh, good, it's the card I just put on the bottom of my deck because I didn't want it. Malevolent Rumble. Okay, I guess I'm taking Overgrown Tomb and watching 3 spells go to the graveyard. And Crumbling Vestige. Make a green. Now I'm in some trouble. I need... Zenith would give me some options. Drawing Endurance gives me some piece of interaction. Damping Sphere is obviously just the best card I can draw. Reckless Impulse. Flipped Sacred Foundry and another Reckless Impulse. White of the Rel. Alright. This gives me real interaction starting next turn. Just have to hope I get a next turn. The turn 2 Reckless Impulse could mean they don't have a Ruby effect, or it could mean they have 3 lands already and they can win deterministically on turn 3 without exposing the Ruby to a disenchant. But it looks like we're in the fantasy world where they just don't have a Ruby. Well, I guess I'll attack with everybody. I'll add Dryad Arbor to the board. Pass. They have Wish and Valakut Awakening in the exile zone. Desperate Ritual, Splicing Desperate Ritual. Okay. That's a lot of mana. Manamorphose. I have access to Bajuka Bog here, but they can get to a point where they don't need the graveyard. That is possible, especially with the Wish already here. Glimpse. Hit Valakut Awakening and some lands. These Edge of Eternity's lands look crazy. This Sacred Foundry and this Gemstone Cavern. A Valakut Awakening used their remaining mana and drew 4 cards. I don't know if this Desperate Ritual is still in the hand or not. At end of turn, you get some spawns. Okay, White of the Rel, I'm going to use it. Turn Eldrazi spawn into... It's probably Lair of the Hydra. It's either Lair of the Hydra or Underground Mortuary, where Mortuary could draw gas, where Lair of the Hydra just kind of is gas. Hydra's not getting through these spawns anyway. Ooh, Thoughtseize. All right, I'll take that. Happy with that one. Show me your thoughts. Okay, double Ral, Past in Flames, Desperate Ritual. I'm going to take one of the Rals. I can Fatal Push the other, and I can Bajuka Bog Past in Flames. Ral. I'm going to respond, and this could fail, because I know my opponent has rituals in hand, and they could ritual in response and win a flip and flip Ral. But Ral will not be at ultimate mode. It'll just be a planeswalker I have to deal with on next turn. A Desperate Ritual, splicing the Desperate Ritual, lost that flip. Other Desperate Ritual, they won that flip. But Ral is now on the backside with the wrong mode active. They hit a Ruby Medallion, so lots of access to that. Ruby, Past in Flames, activate Knight of the Rel, get rid of the Lighted Halfling. I'll get Bajuka Bog. They could rebuild and try again next turn. Depending on the hand, it could even be possible to rebuild this turn. But I'm just going to hope that's not the case. Ooh, Endurance. Okay, I can attack Ral down to 1, but that doesn't make a lot of sense. It sucks that I can't evoke Endurance, because I'm 1 damage away from winning. Is there a land in my deck that's worth an extra damage? There's not. Okay. All right, yeah, I'm 1 damage away from just winning here. Ral deals 2 damage divided among as you choose. Okay. I don't care about that. I'm just going to put my opponent to 1. Oh, wait. I can win right now. Never mind. Yeah, this says Vigilance. All right. Cast Endurance. Sack it for some land. Almost messed that one up. We found the line. I was like, how do I get Endurance in the graveyard with my creature that just does that? Good job, me. Okay. I don't think this is a place for Calling Ritual. And it could cover, if we're in a weird game where they have a Ral or a Ruby but haven't gone off, it could clean that up. But it's going to kill all my permanents too. I don't think that's where I'm going to be in life. All right, this is my deck. Let's go. I got to mulligan this one on the draw. Probably mull this one on the play too. Okay, this one works. I'll keep it and get rid of all of these cards. Are a little bit useful. I think I'm going to get rid of Cub, though. The Zenith could be a Cub if it needs to. Rumble could be Damping Sphere. Or something like Cub. Just keeping hands as if Malevolent Rumble is Demonic Tutor. Basically is, right? Show me them thoughts. Okay, it's a bunch of draw cards and a Ruby. I'll take the Ruby, because I don't have enough lands to make Boseiju be a useful Boseiju. I'll at least make my opponent tread water for a little while is the plan. Wooded Foothills. Reckless Impulse, hit Artist Talent, and Wish. All right. I think having this White of the Reliquary in play is the most powerful thing I can do. Yeah, Artist Talent's in, Bloodstained Mire's in, the Wish is gone. Okay, that was a good draw. I'm going to Rumble first, which should make White a lot bigger. Or at least a little bit bigger. I'll take Endurance. And then, do I want to Zenith? I could just Rumble again. Yeah, I think I'm just going to Rumble again. Another White. Do I want another White over another land? Kind of want the land. That lets me do 2 things next turn. Okay. Attack for 3 with my White. And I have 2 layers of attacking the graveyard online. I can Bajuka Bog and I can Endurance. They know about both. Or they know I have Endurance. They don't know I have a green card. But it's a safe bet. Okay. Leveled up the Artist Talent. Shocked in the Sacred Foundry. Reckless Impulse. Exiled Valakut Awakening. Okay, I mean, this spawn being a land, this is not free, actually, because I don't have tons of creatures to sacrifice. Yeah, I'm going to go to my turn without activating White. Here, I could Zenith for Canker Bloom and blow up Artist Talent, but that leaves me shields down on both the white and the endurance. I think what I want to do here is just play Soul Cauldron. A third layer of Graveyard Hate, even though that's not everything. The deck does do other stuff. If I get one more turn where I'm not dead, which is becoming a concerning amount of unlikely. If I get one more turn where I'm not dead, then I can get a Dryad Arbor, and then I'll have access to Canker Bloom and still be able to activate white. Poetic Ritual, going for it. Artist Talent is such a crazy card. It's cool that something like this exists. All right, well, you had something like that anyway. Glimpse the Impossible. Yeah, if Ral gets to flip mode, Prismatic Ending, yikes. Don't like that. Manamorphose. I'm feeling pretty dead here. I was not able to lock them out on their slow start, and now it's just kind of running away with double engines, and all I can do is attack their graveyard 3 times. Just going to check my lands real quick, make sure there's nothing I forgot. Nope. All right, well, I guess here is where I Bajuka Bog my opponent. Or, hold on. I should let Artist Talent finish resolving first. Bajuka Bog you. Glimpse the Impossible. Speaking of glimpsing the impossible, it's impossible to know what of these exiled cards are exiled and what's... If I mouse over each one, it lets me play it until end of turn. They do have 0 cards in hand. Yeah, Valakut Awakening draws 1. It's the number -1, or the number of cards you loot +1. Yeah, they're just... I need to win a bunch of coin flips in a row right now is what's going on. All right, I keep winning coin flips. 2 lands? Oh, Manamorphose, the nuts. All right, they're still playing, still spinning. Coin flip? Yeah, all right. Keep losing. All right, land in hand, no more playable spells in exile. How'd we do? How'd we do? Grape Shot, son of a biscuit. Okay, that's not lethal unless Ral flips. Coin flip, coin flip. No, god damn it. All right, we were doing so good for a minute there. Yeah, now they get to exile the top 8 cards of their deck and play them for free. Unlikely to survive that, but I will make them do it. Because getting lucky has been my plan for the last 8 minutes. That's not going to change now. Okay, Poetic Ritual, Manamorphose, Untimely Malfunction. I mean, that's not great. Manamorphose, 1 card in hand. Okay, the creature Ral that was exiled much earlier in the turn. Poetic Ritual. Okay, now they're trying to flip this Ral. If I win 5 coin flips in a row, they're literally dead. Dumped Prismatic Ending. 1 card in hand. They actually can't destroy target artifact, so there's another spell to cast. Lose the flip. Lose the flip. Oh yeah, they're at 3. Let's go. I'm going to exile Grape Shot from the graveyard. Just in case Past in Flames is involved somehow. That's the card in their hand, in their graveyard that actually kills me. Are we done? Did we fade? Pass the turn. Pass the turn. Oh no, stuff's still happening. Which is leveling up Artist Talent. Sick. Oh, did they have mana floating when they Grape Shot me? Because if they did, that would have been lethal. I don't know. I've lost track. Oh yeah, we're getting a turn. Okay. Ral. Oh, there's a bunch of spawns coming. How many spawns actually? 3. Okay. Ral, deal 2 damage divided as you choose among 1 or 2 targets. Okay. And this is if a source you control would deal non-combat damage to an opponent or permanent they control. Okay, so Ral's actually lethal next turn, which means what do I need to do? This is either Dryad Arbor or it's Mortuary, and I think it's Mortuary. Badgermole Cub, do you help? That gives me another round of Bajuka Bogging. Also just puts a 2/2 on the board. 1, 2, 3. All right, I will take Badgermole Cub. I have to Zenith for 2. Can I get Cub in first? If I play Cub, target, should probably target Bajuka Bog. Play Cub, target Bog. Bog stands up. I can get Canker Bloom and activate it, and I have Cub in play. Okay. Badgermole Cub, target Bajuka Bog. 1, 2, 3. Just make sure Canker Bloom is the 2-drop it is. And making sure there's no creatures in my deck that just deal 3 damage when they enter. There's not. Okay. Zenith. X equals 2. Straight up canking it. And I have a land to play, so I will. Okay, I'm going to pass the turn. It's possible that I should just destroy Artist Talent now. All right, I mean, I have to do that anyway. So I'll do it now. I should have done it on my turn. Okay, here we go. Lots of mana being spent on something. The Past in Flames, no! All right, well, they have to flip a coin for Ral. If they just lose 3 flips in a row. All right, well, they've wisely decided not to even flip coins. All right, I mean, let's see what happens here. Wish and Grapeshot. There's at least one Wish and a copy of Grapeshot exiled. I just want to see that they can win. I assume they can. Yeah, green card short of maybe actually winning this game. If I didn't play out Mole, I would have a green card. And maybe Mole was extra. If I didn't play out Mole, would I have green card? No, I would not be able to hardcast Endurance, I don't think. Okay, I'm just going to let them exile their deck, and we'll find out together if there's a win con remaining. 6 cards left. Okay, there is a Wish. There you go. We did it, team. Great. All right, I mean, that matchup felt really bad, but that's the type of thing that if you want to be, like, if your local meta is full of Ruby Storm, you could change a bunch of these sideboard cards to be more damping spheres. You can do that sort of thing. You could even change some of the stuff in your Zenith package to address it more directly. On to the next round. The BoshNRoll channel is brought to you by Tales of Adventure. TOAMagic.com has almost 100,000 unique cards in stock. They offer free track shipping on every order, plus next day or 2-day options when you have an event coming up fast. They offer on-site pickup at major Magic events throughout the US, so you're never scrambling before your tournament. Stop by their booth to buy, sell, or trade at upcoming regional championships, Magic Con, Spotlight Series, and more. I love their selection of individually scanned high-end cards that show you exactly what you're buying. And the best part is saving 5% on every order with promo code BOSH. From Ancestral Recall to Zombie Master, get what you need quickly and in one place at TOAMagic.com. Eternal lives here. I am on the play in round 3. I'm going to keep this hand. It's a little slow and steady, but I can push on turn 1 if I need to and just surveil and then start developing if I don't. Tower, all right. Well, it's definitely a Fulminator Mage matchup. Mortuary. Formidable Speaker. Does that get any important creatures? I still Explorer. Okay, yeah. I'll keep that. Well, my plan here is kind of get Ghost Quarter, go nuts with it, question mark profit. Oh no, I'm getting dismembered. Settle down over there. Okay, it's starting to look dangerous. All right, well, I'm gonna Formidable Speaker for Ice Till Explorer, discarding one of these fatal pushes that are going to be awesome in this matchup. Okay, trying to get something going. Oh yeah. The Tron experience. Keep 7 cards, have the Dismember for my 1 piece of potential interaction, and then turn 3 Ugin off Natty Tron. You love to see it. Alright, this game is not winnable. I'll bring in some Fulminator Mages and Damping Sphere and try to have a more interesting game. Fulminator, D-Sphere, Thoughtseize, Fatal Push out, Endurance probably out, Agatha's Soul Cauldron. This exiling a Fulminator Mage is one of the combos, so I probably want to leave that in. Scavenging Ooze. I don't think I need Bajuka Bog. It is land count, but hopefully I have enough mana in the deck without that. Alright, let's try this again with 7 new cards in the deck. This has been a consistent experience trying to do anything kind of off the beaten path in Modern. Modern is really powerful. I actually think it's harder to brew in Modern than it is in Legacy. Okay, I'll keep this. It has one of my powerful sideboard cards in it. Devour of Destiny. They were Eldrazi Tron, or maybe they're just regular Tron that happen to have this guy in it. I didn't see enough to know if they're... I could have played it out to try to figure out if they're Green Tron or Eldrazi or what their actual setup is, but the truth is it simply doesn't matter because I'm boarding in the same cards anyway. Right, I would love to find another land here so I don't have to spend a Beseiju. We did it. A Tomb and I see Ugin's Lab. Yeah, I'll just develop the sphere now. It probably doesn't matter until turn 3, but I don't have a better thing. Like, if I had a White of the Reliquary to play out here, I'd probably think about it. Talisman. Okay, Rumble. I could just play 6. That gives up Boseiju, but Boseiju doesn't matter as long as I have Damping Sphere. Yeah, I'm just going to play 6 and try to keep resources flowing. 6 is a lot more looks at Fulminator Mage as well. Though they're pausing like I'm about to get dismembered. Okay, I didn't get dismembered. Good news. Talisman. Map. Are they going to map for something like Boseiju to break my Damping Sphere now? Alright, still just going for the Tron lands. Let's tap for 1. Zenith. I did not bring in Collector Roof, though it would be kind of sweet here. Alright, here's the Dismember they telegraphed at the end of last turn. I think I just have to Canker Bloom one of these talismans, even though that is really boring and shitty. Fighting for my life out here, as they say. Thought Not Seer. That's a mid-sized body that gets to take my Grist away. Grist is gone. They have missed a land drop, though. Okay. Zenith is now online for 3. Who do we got? I could Zenith for Speaker to try to get Fulminator Mage going. That is a way to Zenith through the back door to get a non-green creature. I could also just play Springheart Nantuko and make a land drop. All right, I'm going to Zenith. Yeah, I think it is Formidable Speaker. Discard Rumble. Get Fulminator. And I'm kind of under my own Damping Sphere here in terms of getting Springheart Nantuko onto Fulminator Mage. But I have a little bit of time, especially if they're not developing. We'll see how that plays out. We know one of the cards in their hand is Devour of Destiny, and we know 3 more of them are not lands, at least. I hope their hand is just full of Ugins and Devourers. 7 drops. Ugin's Lab. Alright, another 1 mana source of mana. Interesting. Okay, what I'm going to do is play Fulminator Mage, but not use it, and also not play this land. As my plan is to start copying Fulminator Mage with Nantuko next turn. Okay, we've got a Kozilek's Command situation. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's 7 mana next turn, even if I use the Fulminator. Man, these Tron decks are so much better than they used to be. They've taken a pile of damage. We know they have at least Devour of Destiny that can force the action on Fulminator if they don't have something even better like Ugin. Thought Not Seer, bummer. My plan. Ooh. Ice Still Explorer? I'm still dead on board, so that might not even be good enough. That's all I got, though. Yeah, this is really all I can do. And I need Fulminator Mage to block with, which isn't going to work because Devour of Destiny's in the hand. All right, I'm good. I'm good. Yeah, just super anemic. The deck that's trying to engage with like Fatal Push and using a 2-drop on the turn after you play it to tutor thing of value and stuff is not gonna line up well against the deck that can kill any creature in your deck for 1 mana and then also play any number of unbeatable spells on turn 3. The next one. The BoshNRoll channel is proudly partnered with the Resleevables. In this YouTube series, hosts Patrick Sullivan and Patrick Chapin go set by set through Magic's past, leveraging their decades of experience as Pro Tour players and game designers to analyze the good, the bad, and the ugly of Magic's history. Each episode is a deep dive into the facts, mechanics, cycles, trivia, decks of the time, and historical context of the set. The hosts dig into notable cards of the era and their lasting impact today. Each set gets an award show where the hosts pick their favorite cards for categories such as Best, Worst, and Weirdest. And finally, give a letter grade for the set's overall success. Whether you want a history lesson or a nostalgia hit, The Resleevables has it at youtube.com/theresleevables. I'm on the play in round 4. I'll keep this hand. I'm going to get Overgrown Tomb and play Delighted Halfling. What is the prevalence of Orcish Bowmaster these days in Modern? I know it used to be pretty big, but I'd have to check the spread because I feel like that card is not getting the play it once was. And if Bowmaster is not all over the metagame, then I feel like Ignoble Hierarch would be better than Delighted Halfling in this deck. There's been a bunch of games where I've just been color screwed, even though I have a turn 1 mana dork or 2 mana dorks in play, and I just can't do all the things I want to do. Even this mana being colorless right now is kind of harshing my vibe with the number of green pips in my hand. 6 in the graveyard. We got Inquisition of Kozilek. What year is it? Okay. I'm going to play this Verdant Catacombs I just drew. And I think I would rather have extra mana now than an extra fetch eventually. I'm just going to get another dork of some variety. It's 2, 4, 6, 7, 8 mana next turn. Kishla Village. Suspending Profane Tutor. All right, opponent's in the lab. Ooh, okay. Now I'm excited. Okay. 1, 2, bestow onto Cub. Oh, that was already 2. Hold on. I can do better. I gotta remember what my cards do. Okay. Bestow onto Cub. Play Beseiju. Alright. When this enters, Earthbend 1. And now I have 2 moles, so these tap for 3. This is 3, 4, 5, 6 mana. Is Zenithing for a Dryad Arbor to get an additional mole and an additional thing better than hoofing next turn? I think it's no, and it's not even close. Okay, attack. Cabal Coffers. Nice, okay. 1 swamp in play. This Cabal Coffers doesn't even make mana. That Thoughtseize is a pretty big deal, though. Now I actually have to rip something good. That's not the thrill of my life, but it does do something. Surveil 1, White of the Rel. I don't think that's what I'm looking for. Okay, yes, I would like to make Y, Magic Online Y. There's 2 mana in my pool. Why can't I use it? Okay, I was clicking the wrong button. That's why. Okay, I'll Earthbend Beseiju. And now I have trillions of mana, but nowhere to go. I will go to the face and hope this Profane Tutor doesn't kill me next turn. Opponent's at 1. Did I have 1 more damage if I tap differently? I don't think so. If I don't tap the Halfling, if I just don't do the Cub thing, then Halfling is untapped, but I don't wake up Beseiju. Okay, they're at 1. They gotta figure this out. If they, like, Damnation me, Springheart Nantuko stays in play from Bestow, and then 3 triggers happen when my 3 lands come back. I'm damnation proof here. If they're comboing me out somehow, if they were planning on Profane Tutor to get Urborg to turn on Cabal Coffers, we're way too slow for that. Or we're way too fast. That's way too slow. I've never seen a Kishla Village in play before. It's exciting. Okay, Profane Tutor, Urborg, 5 cards left in hand. This is 5 mana. Dark Petition. Okay, am I getting properly stormed out? So Dark Petition does have Spell Mastery. They get a Dark Ritual out of this. Tutor for something, black, black, black. They have to be main decking Day of Black Sun. And even that I don't think beats the Springheart Nantuko. If I understand the Magic rules correctly. I like that they Demonic Tutored twice in a turn and then conceded. It's like, yeah, alright, you got me. Okay, Fulminator, Mage, Dancing Sphere, Thoughtseize. I'm going to treat this very much like Tron, except I hope that their build is wonkier than Tron, so I have a better chance. I actually don't think I care about Agatha's Soul Cauldron. I have the 3 Fulminator Mages, and if they show up, they show up. Otherwise, I'm doing my thing. Here we go. I like this hand. Thoughtseize into white. White can get Ghost Quarter going. The dreams of steel and oil. They get to exile an artifact or creature from my hand. I took one of the whites, which is great because Thoughtseize is one of the core functions of the card Thoughtseize across all Magic decks. Go blank. That's kind of cool. But I'm going to take this Inquisition instead. And I'm just going to try to play around Mind Rot as much as I can. Okay, the Tutor's suspended. Ooh. The Cub. I think I want a Cub next turn. because that sets up white to immediately activate with value. They did hit land. If they go blank me here, I think I'm discarding Grist and Rumble. All right, yeah, Grist and Rumble, and then all these things get exiled. Their hand is Dark Petition, which I can turn off with Bajuka Bog, which I hope I didn't board out. I don't think I did. I did not. Good. Neat, another land. Okay. Fetch with Verdant Catacombs. I'll get Forest. I'll play Badgermole Cub. Wake this one up. And I think I want to attack with these creatures and just leave up the option to bog them if they try to Dark Petition, because I really want to get Ghost Quarter going if it's an option, or if it looks like it's going to make sense. If they start getting that lands package together again, I mean, here game 2, I just see a bunch of swamps. Pretty different stuff. And this Zenith could be Icehill Explorer if I'm patient. Path of Peril. Destroy all creatures within a value 2 or less. Well, I can at least turn Badgermole Cub into a land in response. Okay, do I want to get Ghost Quarter here? Or do I want to Bajuka Bog to actively turn off this Dark Petition? Could also just Mortuary. I think I want Ghost Quarter. Okay. I've been cleaved. Overgrown Tomb returns to the battlefield tapped. I do have land number 4. Delighted Halfling. I don't like it, but I think I have to Zenith again here. And I think white is better than Badgermole Cub. I'm still not quite sure what my opponent's deck even does. But if I can get them on a hook for Dark Petition, thinking they're going to have mana that they don't have, that sounds like a turn where this game could start to break my way. Kept a card on top. Bad news, team. Mono black, not historically, across Magic the Gathering. A great matchup for creature decks. I will just say that. Put that out there, in case anyone was confused. Meathook Massacre. Okay, that doesn't kill White of the Reliquary. You're saying I'm still alive. Ooh. Okie dokie. Some shenanigans could be afoot here. If I bestow my Nantuko, Ghost Quarter myself, there could be some tricks. Okay, I am going to bestow the Nantuko and attack for 6. And then we'll just see what next turn looks like. I don't want to be Ghost Quartering myself if I can avoid it. But if I can't avoid it, that's fine. Okay, well, seems to be go time. Ghost Quarter this Forest. I would like to search my deck. I'll get a Swamp. And it doesn't matter if this is a White of the Reliquary, because I'm just going to sacrifice it anyway. Tutor this away. And then when Bajuka Bog comes into play, I'll copy White of the Reliquary, because that one does matter. It actually puts lethal on the board. Now we're gaming. Okay. You are at exactly dead, and you're tapped out, and you don't get any mana. What do you got for me? That was a sweet trick. Yeah, we did it. Yeah, when your opponent gives you enough time to set up the cool things that the deck is trying to do, then we get to see a little more than the other modern players who just wanted to tee off on my dome starting turn 1. One more round to go, let's do it. We're a few rounds into the video. If you're still here and having fun, remember to hit that subscribe button. And if you want to play what I'm playing, use code BOSH for 5% off your order at toamagic.com. Eternal lives here. I'm on the draw in the final round with a hand that I hope is good enough to compete, because boy do I like the cards in it. Grove of the Burn Willows, let's go. Who has that card in their deck in Modern? The answer used to be Tron or Krark-Clan Ironworks combo. One of those things is banned now. Okay, little artifact something or other going on over there. Oh, this deck, sure. Yep, that makes sense. This is an infinite combo that doesn't care about your life total and does care about having good mana. I'm just going to delete this Brood Scale immediately and try to get something going of my own. That's a lot of cubs. I'm going to lead on white, because that's the toolbox. The land coming into play tapped for White of the Reliquary is such a bummer. That knocks me off my ability to cook this Urza Saga before it does what I need it to. Emrakul, the Promise End, crazy art version under Ugin's lab over there. Wearing Fleshraker, alright. Soul Guide Lantern, alright. That has a little bit of text against me. My opponent has direct access to the the Blood Chief Sword next turn. I gotta hope they don't have another Basking Brood-Scale ready to completely cook me. Soul Cauldron. I could give my creatures the ability to adapt 1, except they wouldn't be able to do it because they would have +1 counters on them already. That's funny. What a good interaction. All right, Overgrown Tomb, zap it in. Badgermole Cub, wake up the untapped land. Badgermole Cub, number 2, wake up a tapped land. All right, I've got a couple tutor options available here. I would absolutely trade White of the Reliquary for Glaring Fleshwrecker and Soul Guide Lantern on this board, so I'm going to attack. Opponent wise to my shit, didn't fall for it. Okay, am I dead? Blade of the Blood Chief. And why wouldn't they have only 1 of this card? All right, just checking. Yeah, there's no Talon Gates of Madara, which would buy me a turn here. Yeah, that's a card. Is that card even legal in Modern? I actually don't know. I don't think it is. That's from the Commander set, right? Okay. Yeah. Nothing to be done here except die. Okay. Yep. They play the same number of Basking Brood-Scales that I play Fatal Pushes. Just pointing that out for anyone who's paying attention at home. But they had 2 of theirs and I only had 1 of mine. The Collector Roof's good. Murderous Cut's good. Canker Bloom, good. Thoughtseize probably necessary. Culling Ritual. Is it time? And Culling Ritual can keep up with Urza's Saga nonsense. Yeah, I don't think I'm Soul Cauldroning in this matchup. Endurance doesn't really matter. Scavenging Ooze, not that excited. I just don't think Craterhoof's faster than them. That's the problem. Like, comparing this to the standard Cub decks where Craterhoof is super fast compared to what other decks do in the format, Craterhoof is actually a slow engine in Modern, and if I have enough things going right that Zenith for Craterhoof while I have a full board of creatures on the table, then I don't actually need it to win. The paradox of Craterhoof. I think I'm going to cut my Bajuka Bog, and this is the plan now. I'll keep this. This hand isn't exactly blazing, but it does get set up a little bit and then do stuff. And on the play versus this deck, I think this deck's fastest Goldfish is turn 3. And their combo represents an infinitely large creature and infinite mana. They need something to do with that mana to actually win the game after that, or else Springheart Nantuko land drops just nerf it. So that is not to say my hand's great. It's to say I have a little bit of time to figure it out. And between Surveil Lands and Malevolent Rumble, I have faith. Opponent also mulled to 4. That helps. I've got a forest. I've got a mortuary. I am happy to see another land. I'm going to get Cub involved, because that makes all my subsequent turns better. I'm going to wake up Mortuary, because that one's better if it dies. But it is worse if I'm trying to copy it, because the copies will come into play tapped. But I don't think I'm doing that. Urza's Saga. Rumble. Rumble found a Brood-Scale, if that is what they're looking for. It is not. Took Eldrazi Temple. Okay. Well, that's scary. Second Cub. I think what I want to do here is fetch, play Cub, wake up Overgrown Tomb, and then Rumble with mana floating. Dump 2 Zeniths and a Thoughtseize into the graveyard. Not what I was hoping for. Bestow Nantuko onto Badgermole Cub and attack. I could just die here. And if I don't die here, I'm not in good shape for the turn after. It is tough having Malevolent Rumble at the core of a deck where your spells are pretty important out of the sideboard. Okay, another Rumble. Kozilek's Command, Gemstone Caverns. They took the land. Still building lands. Okay, they have access to the sword next turn. They declined a Brood-Scale, so I have to assume they have one, which is bad news because I can't do a fucking thing about it. Formidable Speaker. Okay, Formidable Speaker. If I can do anything about anything, Speaker's going to be involved. So what am I trying to do here? Oh, Collector Roof is what I'm trying to get to. If I play a land, I get a bug. I fetch, I can get a mole. Mole animates that. Yeah, okay. That I like that. All right, I'll get a bug first. And then fetch for a forest. This one will be a mole. MOLEY, 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 MOLEY. And now my land's tapped for 1 trillion. I'll play Formidable Speaker. Discard White of the Reliquary. Is Canker Bloom better than Collector Oof? No, because I have to pass with... I have to use all my mana right now to get to this point. 5 mana, play Oof and 6. And then attack with my creatures. I've done my thing. I showed you my thing. Please respond. But don't respond in a way that wins. So now they have to come up with Brood Scale, Sword, mana to kill Collector Roof, mana to equip Sword. There's the Sword. Rumble. They took Ugin's Labyrinth. That could be a burst of mana depending on what's in their hand. We did it! You've bought the time. Alright, opponent's hand is just all lands. That's funny because they took a land instead of basking Broodscale on that first Rumble. Information changes, it turns out. In Fulminator Mage blowing up Urza Saga feels like it could be relevant, but how many games is that going to be relevant in compared to just having the cards that I have that are good? Fulminator Mage can be found off of Rumble, which is pretty important. Or at least, I don't know if it's important, but it's relevant. It's pretty relevant. Actually, I'm going to cut at least 2 Rumbles for 2 Mages. Do I have room for the 3rd Mage? I don't think so. I like the rest of what I got going on. I really just want to see the card slotsies and Fatal Push. That's what I really want to be doing in this matchup. None of this fancy shit. Here we go with Delighted Halfling Dryad Arbor mana base that otherwise looks pretty nice. I have to mulligan this, right? It just doesn't do anything. Yeah, alright. Okay, I found the cards I was looking for, and I'll put this basic forest to the bottom. Blade of the Blood Chief is on the battlefield. I guess I Crumbling Vestige out a Delighted Halfling here. Yeah, there's no sequence of the lands I have available. Or, no, there was one. I lied. I was trying to figure out if I can play Oof and hold up Fatal Push on turn 2 while developing Halfling on turn 1, and turns out, yes, kind of. If I fetched and then had Crumbling Vestige... Yeah, if I fetched for Overgrown Tomb, it was possible. Okay. Well, I deserve that then. Okay, what do I even do here? Alright, I wish this was Ignoble Hierarch, and I think I'm supposed to just pass with Fatal Push up this turn. Okay. Weird start, but this feels like the right way to try not to die. Saga. Exiling my fella. Okay. We have fooled my opponent into using a removal spell on something that didn't matter. Got Mortuary. Wrist. I don't think that's a card I want. Overgrown Tomb is a great find. Right, I'll jam Collector Oof and then hold up Fatal Push. Unfortunately, this is a game opponent could just settle into making constructs. The Double Saga. The saga continues. Something that costs 5 is happening. Just a second Kozilek's command, probably. Yep. And they're scrying X, drawing a card this time. I really like the Broodscale combo deck. Like, in terms of that it exists, that something like this can exist in Modern and actually be pretty good. I still hate Kozilek's command as a Magic card. And it's tough to balance between the two thoughts that are in my head simultaneously. Mortuary. Another Cub. I'm going to put that on top, and I'm going to play this Cub. I'm trying to get into the combo Cub universe. I've got 2 Springheart Nantukos. Can we go nuts? Okay, if you're making constructs, that's probably good news for this double Cub, double Nantuko situation I'm trying to set up. Though, without lands, that doesn't matter. What have I done? Oh no. I think I missed an important detail in what my deck's supposed to be doing. Oh, the 3rd Urza Saga, sure. Keep them coming. Lay them down upon me. Soul Guide Lantern, okay. The line I'm on doesn't care about that. Hey, you've got a 4/4 with the potential to become larger. A backup Cub. Target Mortuary. Mortuary. Bestow. Onto Cub. And pass the turn. The Soul Guide Lantern's a little awkward because there is a window where they can zap my graveyard while my Earthbent land is in there, if that matters. Second Blade tutored. Basking Broodscale. Fatal Push that, of course. Do you have Veil of Summer? No. Alright, Good news. There is a 6/6 construct, though. All right, deck, it's a really good time to draw something powerful. I am set up. I'm all dressed up. Give me somewhere to go. I don't think Dried Arbor is it, but I'm pretty close to doing a lot here. And unfortunately, all my lands hurt me. I don't have a basic forest with which to just make infinite forests. But if I put Nantuko on Overgrown Tomb, and I take some damage, but I get to make a lot of shit. Okay, bestow onto Overgrown Tomb. Play my land. I get another cub. I think I want to Earthbend Dried Arbor. So if it dies, it comes back. Okay, do I want to pay 2 life for this one? Yeah, I guess so. And now I get to pay 2 to Earthbend. Wake up Overgrown Tomb. And yeah, if this was Forest, I would have infinite 1/1s. But I have to stop at some number. Oh, the Dried Arbor gets haste. Shit, was that the missing piece here? No, the Dried Arbor was my land drop to start the turn. Okay, so I was a land behind being able to do that. Dried Arbor taps for 6. Another cub. Just keep waking him up. More cub. Overgrown Tomb. This is so many cubs. I've done the thing. Is there a critical mass where I can keep making cubs without paying life? Okay, I think I've done enough here. And I'm going to win or lose this game based on whether they can combo off. It has nothing to do with how many Badgermole Cubs I have. Okay, go. We did it in the final game, which we might lose anyway, but this is one of the things that we've been working towards this whole time. Yeah, if I had a Zenith in hand, that could have worked its way up to any number of mana necessary to get Hoof. Very well. Well, they do still need a win con. This is exactly the situation I described where, but they do have 2 blades. So the second blade means they have infinitely large creatures. And like technically, I guess, like on Magic Online, they have to pick a number to stop at. But in real life, they could just say, I have infinitely large creatures, pass. And it did blow up my Nantuko. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to get out of this. Okay, well, I'm just going to wait here and see if they pick a number that is sufficient or not. Okay, now they just win. All right, GG. Yeah, that one we don't have to wait for. That one just kills me. Okay, my infinite combo, just a little worse than my opponent's infinite combo. That was sweet. We found it at the very end. This deck had some trouble keeping up with the high power modern format. I'm not surprised there. It's doing a bunch of powerful stuff of its own, but it's happening like a turn and a half after the average modern deck is already doing its powerful thing. I think you probably want to focus this deck more on doing what its thing is. Like if you build it like the Brood-Scale deck, because the Brood-Scale deck, and it's cool that we queued into it to have this conversation, that deck has an A and a B. And when A and B come together, everything else makes sense. But then it's also kind of playing cards that aren't super embarrassing on their own. In this deck, it's trying to do a lot with Green Sun Zenith. Like Grist had a moment where she was great in this league, but there are also a lot of spots where it's like, yeah, Grist isn't good enough, or I'll mill away Grist. That one's not going to help. I think that this deck, rather than White of the Reliquary and Endurance and 6 and like that sort of stuff, I think if you just have Llanowar Elves, Ignoble Hierarch, take a play out of the standard decks book and play Nature's Rhythm. You can even play it in addition to Green Sun Zenith, but Nature's Rhythm, Zenith, while it gives you theoretically more over a game that takes infinite turns, modern games don't take infinite turns. Nature's Rhythm lets you tutor the Mole on turn 2 and then use Mole to tutor Hoof 1 or 2 turns after that. If you have that critical mass of mana dorks doing the thing where Mole immediately represents +3, +4, +6, +12 mana on the board as soon as it comes down, rather than having to do a bunch of work. We saw Delighted Halfling. That 1/2 body, not worth not actually casting the spells in the deck. And I think if you add Ignoble Hierarchs, Llanowar Elves, that sort of stuff, then you only need 1 Dryad Arbor. because that second one gummed up our hand quite a bit. You want the 1 for a Zenith, but the second one makes it pretty tough. And we're not supporting Natural Order. That card's not legal in the format, so our Natural Order is Green Sun Zenith or Nature's Rhythm. Or with enough mana, it could even be Formidable Speaker. At some point, Badgermole Cub, if it's doing its thing, the difference between 8 and 11 mana is not that serious. And Formidable Speaker, if you have dorks to untap, this becomes a mana dork itself. If you have anything that taps for 2 or more, Formidable Speaker becomes untap that, like Manifold Keygrim, Monolith stuff going on. That becomes a different deck than Maverick, and it becomes kind of a Badgermole Cub centric build of Modern Elves. It's kind of Cradle Control in Modern, which is, it's different philosophically, and that might not be what Emmanuel is looking for, but I do think that would be a more exciting and more competitive Modern deck. But as far as the cards we are playing, I think I Zenith for everything at least once. Count it. Emmanuel, thank you for sharing this deck. Everyone, thanks for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe. Check out the Patreon to support the channel. I'll see you next time.